On 2 May 2021, a crew of 5 members of the Zapatista Army of National Liberation, EZLN, set sail for Spain. To mark 500 years since the beginning of the Spanish colonization of Mexico, the majority indigenous Maya movement was launching what it called an invasion in reverse. However, an EZLN spokesperson noted that this invasion would represent the exact opposite of what happened 5 centuries before. We're following the route that they came from 500 years ago. However, unlike back then, in this case, we're following the route to sow life. As they disembarked on Spanish soil, Maria Jose, a transgender member of the group, announced, in a sarcastic mirroring of the Spanish invaders' naming and claiming of the Americas, "In the name of women, of children, of men, of elders, and of course of other Zapatistas, I declare that the name of this land, which its natives today call Europe, will henceforth be known as Slumio Kajem Cope, which means rebel land or land that doesn't yield, that doesn't fail. And thus it will be known by its inhabitants as well as by strangers, as long as there is someone who will not abandon, who will not sell out, and who will not capitulate." In a further inversion of the process of European settlement in the Western Hemisphere, the Zapatista envoys quarantined before leaving Chiapas in order to comply with COVID-19 regulations and avoid spreading disease as they arrived in Spain. While the trip and its declarations were primarily symbolic, the struggle that they represented is not. The voyagers were using the opportunity to raise awareness of their ongoing struggle for liberation from the Mexican state, and the connection between that fight and those waged by the oppressed and the exploited across the globe. In fact, the internationalist element of the EZLN struggle is long-standing. The movement gained renown in 1994 when it launched an insurrection in Chiapas, southern Mexico, that coincided with the signing of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. In doing so, as the insurgency made clear, they resisted not only the Mexican state, but also global processes of neoliberal reform, as well as U.S. imperialism in Central America. In the first communiqué about the invasion in October 2020, which announced the group's intention to voyage to Europe, Subcomandante Insurgente Moises noted the many ills that the contemporary socially sick world faces: ecological crisis, the systematic privileging of profit over people, femicides, the growth of nationalism, chauvinism and fascism, as well as war. Yet he also noted the ongoing resistances and rebellions that, even when silenced or forgotten, do not cease to be vital indicators of a humanity that refuses to follow the system's hurried pace toward collapse. He placed the Zapatista struggle for liberation within that global context, and announced that the movement would eventually travel to every continent to meet with the world's people in resistance. The statement further noted, "You didn't conquer us. We continue to resist and rebel."